Derry, or Londonderry if you like, has only one railway station, but this was not always the case. Derry City once had 4 terminus stations. It all started in 1847 with the Londonderry and Enniskillen Railway at Cowmarket Station. This was only temporary though, and was swiftly replaced by Foyle Road Station, which opened in 1850. This was to be the terminus of a major route, but the railway didn't reach Enniskillen until 1854. In the meantime, Waterside Station was opened on the other side of the river by the Londonderry and Coleraine Railway in 1852. In 1860, a bridge was opened over the River Bann in Coleraine, which allowed for through services to Belfast. The Dundalk and Enniskillen Railway took over services to Foyle Road in 1860 and soon renamed to the Irish North Western Railway. The Portadown, Dungannon and Omagh Railway opened in 1861, linking the railway into Foyle Road Station to Portadown, providing a second route between Derry and Belfast. In 1863, the Carlisle Bridge opened across the River Foyle. It replaced an earlier wooden bridge and had 2 decks, the upper for road traffic and the lower for rail freight. Wagons were hauled across by rope and capstan rather than being pulled by a locomotive. The bridge allowed for the transfer of freight between the 2 stations. 1 month later, Graving Dock Station opened. This was the terminus of the Londonderry and Lough Swilly Railway. In 1867, tramways were set up in the port for the purpose of bringing goods between the railway stations and the docks. And in 1869 an agreement was reached with the Londonderry and Lough Swilly Railway to run trains over the port tramway to a more central station, Middle Quay. In 1871, the Londonderry and Coleraine Railway was bought by the Northern Counties Railway, bringing the route to Belfast under one company. Another amalgamation occurred in 1876 when the Irish North Western Railway merged with the Northern Railway and the Ulster Railway to create the Great Northern Railway Ireland. The GNRI had a big network between Derry, Belfast and Dublin. The Londonderry and Lough Swilly Railway changed to narrow gauge in 1885 so they could link with the Letterkenny Railway, forming a line to Letterkenny. 1900 brought the last new station to Derry. The Donegal Railway had a large network of narrow gauge lines but connected to the GNRI in Strabane, which was Irish gauge. To remove the need for changing trains, they built their own line to Derry, ending at Victoria Road Station. In 1903, the Belfast and Northern Counties Railway was bought by the Midland Railway in England, and it was operated by the Northern Counties Committee, which in the 1923 railway grouping in Great Britain was transferred, due to the grouping of the Midland, to the London Midland and Scottish Railway. Also in 1903, the Donegal Railway was taken over jointly by the Great Northern Railway Ireland and the Northern Counties Committee, and operated as the County Donegal Railway Joint Committee. In 1921, after the end of the Irish War of Independence and the partition of the island into 2 countries, the railways in Derry ran into trouble as 3 of the 4 had their network split between the 2 countries. These railways were not nationalised because of this. Graving Dock Station and the last of the LLSR closed to passengers in 1948 and to freight in 1953 owing to financial difficulties. In 1953, the Great Northern could no longer continue to operate, and so was put under the joint ownership of the Irish and Northern Irish governments as the Great Northern Railway Board. Victoria Road was closed by the Ulster Transport Authority, UTA, in 1955. In 1958, the Great Northern Railway Board was dissolved and the assets were split between the UTA and CIE. In 1965, the UTA closed Foyle Road, bringing the number of stations down to 1. Waterside Station is now known simply as Derry Londonderry. It was replaced twice since then, once in 1980 and again making use of the original building in 2019.